Hi! Welcome to this video. My name is Tochi and today I'm going to be reviewing my 1 month in vegan experience. This was supposed to be a 1 month update into my vegan journey, but I only lasted 27 days. I ended up getting really sick because I went vegan. And all of the details on what that journey looked like and why it had to end will be in this video. So if that sounds like it's of any interest to you, keep watching. Just so you know where my head was at when I started this vegan journey, I went into it with the intention of it being permanent, a forever lifestyle, concrete decision. I didn't think of it in any way as a temporary trial or a let's just dip my foot in this. I fully submerged myself into the pool of veganism. There were certain decisions that I made that I initially thought were the reason why things played out as they did, but when I ended up going to the ER and taking certain tests, I realized that it really wasn't all my fault, but veganism definitely played a huge part in that, and you will understand why by the end of this video. Why did I go vegan? I went vegan for 2 reasons. The first reason, as cliche as it sounds, my spirit told me I needed to. I had a number of experiences where the overall message that was being sent to me was that I needed to adopt a plant-based diet. And it got to a point where I decided to stop ignoring the science. I felt, and still do strongly feel, that adopting a plant-based lifestyle is what is best for me and what was best for me. I was finally in a place where I felt emotionally, spiritually, physically, and all the things. I just felt ready to start this journey. So I did. Second reason why I decided to go vegan is because, for those that don't know, I have lupus. It is an autoimmune condition. If you want more details on what lupus is, I actually have a video on that. Feel free to watch it. So I have lupus, and there are a number of cases that I've heard of where just by adopting a plant-based lifestyle and going vegan, people have completely cured themselves of this ailment that apparently has no cure. So if anything, I was going into it thinking like, you know what, in addition to feeling like this is what I should be doing and wanting to adopt a healthier lifestyle, I could also cure myself of this apparently uncurable condition. How did I go vegan? The first thing I had to do was completely shift my mindset. There are certain foods that I love so much. Meat, suya, chicken, lamb, beef, kebab, wings, salmon, shrimp, eggs, cheese, creamy, cheesy. I needed to figure out how I was going to handle wanting all those things and making sure that I didn't fall victim to the cravings of my taste buds. I decided that I had to convince myself that I was better than these cravings and that they didn't lead me to my optimal vegan self. I decided to come at it from a perspective that some may see as egotistical, but it really worked for me. If I would have a craving or if I would want something that definitely did not align with my vegan journey, I would ask myself, Tucci, how can you, a whole you, knowing what you deserve, knowing what you want for yourself, stoop so low as to ingest a dead animal or byproduct of one? Just by asking myself that, I would turn myself off the craving. It worked very well, actually. Second step to that was my diet. Obviously, I have 2 friends that are prime examples of what I wanted my veganism to look like. Coincidentally, they also both run their own vegan businesses, and I'm not saying this because they're my friends. truly, you should support them, because they are not only incredible people, but they run very great businesses. Whether you're vegan or not, and regardless of where you are in your journey in life, you would without a doubt benefit from their business. So I did my research on veganism by asking my vegan friends questions, going through their pages, not really doing any research, really, like research in quotation marks, because scrolling through someone's Instagram for a couple of minutes and having brief conversations over text isn't the kind of research one should be doing if you're going to make a drastic change to your diet like that. But we live and we learn. I went to the grocery store, I bought a bunch of vegetables, bought a bunch of alkaline water, plant-based products, and decided I was ready. In terms of the next step of how I became vegan, there is no next step, and that was what I thought my problem was. My list on how I became vegan is very short, and for me, if I was to give anyone advice, it shouldn't be that short. If you want to have a higher success rate than I did. If you haven't really been paying attention to this video up until this point, I think this is a great point to pay attention, because I'm going to point out the mistakes that I made, and I find it important to pay attention here because I don't want you making those same mistakes if you do decide to go vegan. What did I do wrong? One, I didn't do enough research. When I initially decided to go vegan, my plan was to transition into veganism by detoxing for a week and having only liquids like smoothies and juices. After a day of doing that, I realized that juicing and making smoothies was a lot more work and took a lot more planning than I had anticipated or that I had allocated time for. I just decided to start making meals. So instead of like going through the effort of putting the stuff through the juicer or blending the items, I would just boil them or put them in the oven just to make the process quicker, which ended up becoming 4 meals. And so the whole transition period, that week-long transition period, never happened. And part of that week-long transition period was that I was going to do research on what I actually needed going into this journey. But because that transition period never happened, I never ended up doing the research. So I really just jumped in the water without floaties and didn't know how to swim, but went in with the mindset that like, I'll have to figure out how to swim if I've already jumped in the water, which is not the way to go, because depending on how deep the water is, the chances of drowning are very high. I would say if you're gonna make any drastic diet change, properly do your research. Take the time to do your research, especially research that's particular to you, because everyone's experiences are different. It's very important to do as much research as possible so that you know how to handle any situation that may arise and you feel prepared. It's just nice to feel prepared. The second thing I did that I wouldn't necessarily recommend is that I cut everything off cold turkey. So one day I wasn't vegan and the next day I was. I literally went into my fridge and took out everything that wasn't vegan, and that was it. There was absolutely no transition. I don't recommend it, at least not for everyone. I didn't plan or prep. For the first 5 to 7 days, I was doing pretty well. I coincidentally had friends who were vegan come over, and they also happened to cook, and there were leftovers. So I had food for about a week and didn't even think of cooking vegan meals. At least not the fully nutritious vegan meals that they had cooked. Days 7 through 12, I just kind of threw meals together, like, oh, broccoli, oh, Brussels sprouts, oh, potatoes. Yeah. And then it got to the point where I had ingredients but didn't know what meals to make with the ingredients. So then I ended up just defaulting to like oatmeal, applesauce. In the beginning, I was trying to stay away from like faux meat or you know, vegan cheese. I was trying to like really only have my diet only be plant-based, not like any faux anything. So it was, my meals really, at the 2-week mark, things really began to set in because I really didn't plan or prep. So I would go out and be starving and not have any like snack or meal with me, and would end up going somewhere and needing to like order I would end up ordering fries, and then I would come home and it would be too late to cook, and I would wake up and be hungry from the night before because all I had was fries. Then like, if I had the time, have oatmeal, go to work, not want to order fries, tell myself I'll wait till I get home, be tired, end up like throwing maybe like broccoli and rice into the pot, eating that kind of, not enjoying it, and that cycle just perpetuated. And it got worse because then I was perpetually hungry and not satiating that hunger. Then I began to lose my appetite, and it was just a cycle of unprepared nonsense. So we're at like day 20 and I'm beginning to feel weak. At this point, I'm always hungry, have no appetite, feel nauseous whenever I try to eat. I can't keep my food down when I do eat. And because I wasn't eating, I couldn't take my medication for my lupus. And it all just got very bad very quickly. And the day that I passed out in the shower was the day that I decided I really needed to get it together. Up until then, I was contemplating like, maybe I should reintroduce chicken into my diet because I need protein and I'm so tired of chickpeas. Like, I had chickpeas so much. I even tried to have chickpeas in different ways because I absolutely love hummus. So I was like, okay, let me have hummus. But you know what? Even something you love in abundance, when you have too much of it, you don't want it anymore. I'm just not a beans and peas person. So enjoying protein in the form of a bean is just not my ministry. When I began to lose my appetite, I thought, okay, I really need protein. Like, I could feel my body telling me it needs protein, and so I was thinking, maybe I should reintroduce chicken and just let that be the one thing I eat. But then I passed out in the shower and I was like, go and get yourself some chicken now. I had weighed myself that day, and I'm usually between 125 and 130 pounds. And I was 106 pounds. And so in addition to me needing protein, I also needed to put all my weight back on because I was losing weight very quickly. So I decided I'm gonna listen to my body and just eat whatever it's telling me it needs. Food. But I couldn't keep food down anymore. This is where I get to the part where I explain how I ended up in the ER. If you're squeamish, just skip ahead to, I'll put the time here. So those that were around me and that were witnesses to this around this time know that it was hard for me to get my appetite back, even when I decided like, I can't do this veganism thing right now. It was still hard for me to eat. It was still hard for me to keep my food down. It was still hard for me to not feel nauseous when I did eat. It was a process. And then, you know, I started to eat and I started to feel a bit better. So I overdid it and went to have a seafood boil, crab leg type situation, which was not the smartest decision, I know. Like, in hindsight, I think like, Tucci, what were you doing? But anyway, you know, we live and we learn. And as soon as it hit my stomach, I knew I'd made a mistake. As soon as we left the restaurant, I threw up instantly. I decided, okay, you know what? Let's take it slow. For dinner that day, I had toast and a Gatorade. The next morning, I wake up, run to the bathroom, and throw up the toast and the Gatorade. And I'm like, you know what? It's time to go to the ER because I couldn't keep down anything. I couldn't keep down water. I couldn't keep down ice. I couldn't keep down crackers. I couldn't keep down toast. So I was like, you know what? If I can't keep anything down, this is a situation that I need to give to a professional because I can't handle it on my own anymore. And I will never find another lover than you. So I went to the ER, which was an entire experience in of itself and a completely different story for a different day. I got tests taken. By the middle of the week, I found out that I had a parasite. By the end of the week, I was given very high dosage of very strong antibiotics, and like 2 days later, today is actually like the 2 days later. You're witnessing me at like the end of a very tumultuous period of time. 2 days later, and I'm feeling absolutely great. Alright, so in terms of what I think happened, I was having very mild symptoms for a long time, like since December. But they were very mild, so I pushed them off. Like, I would kind of have no appetite, I would kind of feel nauseous when I was eating, but it was so mild that I brushed it off. But when I went vegan, that mild went to wild so quickly. And what I think happened was, alright, so I found out I had a parasite, right? I think the fact that this parasite didn't have the non-vegan like nutrients to feed off made it go wild. It could no longer be sustained by my non-veganness. And I think that speaks to the power of veganism. So I ended up going to the ER because I went vegan, but it wasn't like because I went vegan, it was because I went vegan. Do you get me? You get me. In terms of next steps, I am taking it one day at a time. I am not rushing back into anything. I rarely ever get sick, not even a cold, to be honest. So this was definitely a very scarring experience, and I'm just gonna allow myself really to take it one day at a time. I still strongly feel that I should be adopting a plant-based diet, and I hope that one day I find the strength to go back I find the strength to ease myself back into it fully. And when that day comes, I will definitely be more prepared for it. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to try again at some point and be more prepared for the journey. There are elements of that journey that I'm definitely still gonna keep. It wasn't just about being vegan, it was about, in general, just adopting a healthier lifestyle. So I decided that I would make my own juices. I mean, I bought a juicer, so utilizing it would definitely be a smart thing to do. Make my own juices, drink at least 64 ounces of water a day, drink at least 16 ounces of chlorophyll water a day, cutting out cow's milk. And I didn't grow up eating pork, so yeah, pork's not a part of my diet. And yeah, that's about it. I really hope this video was informative. I still plan on putting out a video every 2 weeks. Unfortunately, the last month has been a bit of a hiccup because, as you know, I was sick. But we are better now. See you in the next one.